ミディーバル。この体験版もやってみようかなと思います。
Nestled among the mountains of Andalusia, Granada thrives as a center of culture, learning, and Islamic. Across the forests and rivers of the north, Novgorod stands as a proud nestled among the in the bustling ports and narrow streets of Genoa. Commerce Nestled among the mountains of Andalusia, Granada. Nestled in the bustling ports and narrow streets of Genoa, commerce and ambition drive the city-state's destiny. As a rising merchant lord, nestled among the in the bustling ports and narrow streets of Genoa. In the year of our Lord 1118, the aftermath of the First Crusade and the conquest of the Holy Land had reshaped trade, power, and allegiance across the Mediterranean. Merchant city-state republics rose swiftly, fueled by newly won silk and spice trade from the east. Fueling the rise of these city-states were powerful merchant princes. One such figure was Marco Doria, a prominent Genoese trader. On this December day, he was far from home in the Holy Land, near the newly founded Crusader kingdom of Antioch, when his steward arrived bearing urgent news.
Messere Marco, grazie a Dio. Thank the Madonna I found your camp near Antioch. It is December, in the year of our Lord 1118, and word from Genoa is dark as shite. Look upon the world map, Messere, and hear the full account of our grim misfortunes.
In 1117, Genoa stood as a rising maritime city-state, shaped by a century of trade and warfare. Its fleets had fought at Antioch and Acre, while its merchants contested routes against rivals such as the Republic of Pisa. But crisis struck. A great earthquake in 1118 shattered roads and damaged Genoa's defenses. And with the consul Oberto Fieschi gravely ill, rivalry among the House of Doria, the Fieschi, and the Spinola family paralyzed the Republic. Our hero, Marco Doria, had spent the season in the Holy Land, seeking to preserve Genoa's spice and silk trade as he traveled among the newly formed Crusader kingdoms that ruled the great ports. In Marco's absence, the Pisans preyed on Genoese weakness and struck in Acre. Rumor held they seized a spice warehouse and Genoese merchants who cried foul were silenced. The market streets soon carried more than trade, they carried blood.
Messere, now you see it. Che disastro. With Genoa weakened, Pisa has seized cargo in Acre and means to cut throats to keep it quiet. These pox-ridden dogs. Worse, a Genoese messenger with urgent news is missing as well. We cannot delay. We ride for Acre at once.
Uneasy rests the head that wears the crown. Thou shouldst attend. Summon up your blood, my lord. This matter calls thee.
As Marco traveled south, the coast stretched beneath him, a patchwork of crusader strongholds, merchant enclaves, and rival fleets, all bound to the spice and silk routes that fueled Europe's wealth. Fortunes rose and fell along these paths in the Holy Land.
Messere, a warning. Ascolta bene. This tutorial campaign is lengthy, the game is complex, and systems unlock in phases, with some features intentionally limited for now. Pray do not judge the game too early, Messere. Marco, presto, into Acre streets. The Pisans trail us like mangy dogs, arse faces to a man. Let's pray the Genoese quarter still stands. Keep your blade close, Messere. This stinks of death, and worse.
Acre was the largest crusader port, crowded, restless, and alive with rival merchants and feuding crusader factions. And as Marco stepped into its streets, his footsteps would soon echo in blood. Acre was a magnificent and diverse hub, where crusaders, Syrians, Armenians, and Italian merchants roamed the narrow city streets. Tension hung in the air, as everyone spoke of a Pisan hired raid on the Genoese quarter. When Marco reached the Genoese quarter, he found it gutted. Pisan hired ruffians had forced the warehouses open, and Genoese traders lay butchered like cattle. Acre was no longer safe. It was time to flee.
Messere Marco, this is a bloody slaughter. We must flee Acre before the Pisans also slaughter us like mangy dogs. Word is the Genoese messenger may still be alive. Alas, to escape, we'll need allies. Scout the city. Presto, Marco, presto!
I hear and obey.
Knights of the Order of Hospitaller patrolled the city. Their barracks offered a chance. Some brothers might escort the small band for the right coin. By the eastern gate lay a small market, where Genoese envoys often gathered. If the Genoese messenger still lived, this is where Marco might find him. The outer port held private piers, where traders kept ships and cargo. The only chance to escape Acre by sea, and perhaps to recover some lost trade goods.
Messere, we've seen enough. The messenger could be in hiding by the eastern market, but we'll need to hire protection at the Hospitaller chapter barracks to reach him. Move now, and watch for these shite-stained Pisan cutthroats. Andiamo.
I pledge mine life. Where is my horse? I go forth.
Acre chapter welcomes thee. Is that a Genoese crest on your cloak, sire? The whole bloody ass town is talking about the butchery in thy quarters. God's wounds, 'tis foul work. My brothers itch to spill some guts and shite, to put these Pisan ass faces back in their place. Alas, thou must donate some silver to the temple for our protection.
Our blades will serve the realm.
Crossbows
Messere,
with steady arms,
with
my
this
lord.
force, we should reach the eastern market. If the Pisans block the way, we'll carve through the scurvy curs. Now order the whole group to move together. Dio willing, the messenger still waits.
I hear and obey. I go forth. To the death! I pledge mine life. I hear and obey. Where is my horse? I pledge mine life.
God grant us patience, and they soon will
To the death! I go forth.
After a short search, they found the messenger, alive, barely, carrying a vital message from Genoa, one that would change Marco's life entirely.
Messere Marco, grazie a Dio, you live. I come on behalf of your family. Genoa is in crisis. With the consul close to death, an early election is coming. Your father believes you can secure the vote with enough silver for bribes. Alas, as you flee Acre, that path is surely lost. Godspeed, Messere. May Madonna guide you.
Sire, I overheard the messenger. Ah, piss on it. A future consul, are ye? Then the whole Acre chapter stands with thee, and we'll bear siege engines to the docks to smash their palisade. Lead on, sire. A wee siege on our hands, eh, lads?
I hear and obey. Where is my horse?
The outer port was tense and hostile. Pisans held the stolen Genoese goods behind guards and palisade walls. With the Hospitallers' host fully committed, bloodshed was now inevitable. Unbeknown to our heroes, Guido Visconti stood among the defenders, a son of Pisan's ruling blood. His chance presence that day could turn a dockside brawl into a blood feud.
Sire, our brothers stand ready, and we drag the mantlet and a battering ram for ye. Advance the mantlet shields ahead of our crossbowmen to protect them. And once the gate is smashed, we charge in and finish those pox-ridden Pisan dogs. So come now, brothers of the temple, to bloody arms. Deus vult.
I pledge mine life. I go forth. Where is my horse? I go forth. Where is my horse? I go forth.
Ram standing by.
Good Oaken, Matt, let's hear.
I hear and obey. Where is my horse?
Strong men with heavy oak. Smash 'em hard, boys!
The gate gave way, and the docks turned to slaughter. Young Guido Visconti stood trembling among the defenders, praying under his breath, his mind on his noble father in Pisa. The Genoese and the Hospitallers drove on.
I pledge mine life. For the glory of man! To the death! Crossbows, get ready. Release your boats. I hear and obey. To the death!
The battle was won, and Guido Visconti of Pisa lay dead. The horror of this death was not lost on our hero. Marco had to sail at once. But first, whatever spice and silver could be taken from the slain Pisans might yet fund his flight and the coming Genoese election.
Messere, alas, no time to drink to our victory. Andiamo. Word spreads of a dead young noble among the dead. I sense trouble. Also, some peasants hid through the fighting. Set them to loot the fallen corpses. Every coin matters if we are to reach Genoa with enough silver to sway the vote.
pledged mine life. I hear and obey.
We are ready to serve.
Keen eyes, gleaming ears.
The men are eager, sir.
My lord, what do you need?
Swing those axes, fellows.
Messere, that's all we can take. Basta. Gather the men. Guido Visconti's is dead, and the city will soon howl for it. When ready, click the world map button and sail at once. Do not linger in Acre, Messere. Piss on it. We leave now.
Marco left Acre behind and steered his ship west. It was a race to Italy before the death of Guido Visconti was known and the election was decided. What followed would determine whether Genoa gained a leader or fell into chaos.
Messere, Acre is behind us. Andiamo. With Visconti dead, Pisa will come for blood. Madonna mia, will those arsefaces strike Genoa next? Mayhaps Pope Paschal II will stop them. Alas, we still must secure that bloody election. Dio mio. Silver alone may not sway the vote. Ecco. Eureka! A trade pact with Sicily will seal our claim. But first, set sail for a nearby port of Nicosia, a perfect place to sell our spice and resupply. Presto!
Uneasy rests the head that wears the crown. Thou shouldst attend. I'll fight till my bones and my flesh be hacked.
Under Alexios I Komnenos, the Byzantine Empire stood strong. Genoa had fought beside it in the Crusades, though no formal alliance existed. Port city of Nicosia was open to Genoese trade, a crossroads of silk, spice, and mercenaries.
Signore, with our fleet anchored in port, we can trade freely, santo cielo. Sell our spice, then buy silk in return. I hear it's highly valued in Sicilian markets. And buy extra food rations. If food runs out on our journey, we're done.
A bloody business calls thee now, your grace.
Messere. Next, let's recruit mercenaries for the voyage. In fretta. Higher tier soldiers have higher monthly wages. 'Tis shite, but we must pay it. We need at least 3 mercenary groups to reach Sicily alive.
Well met, my lord. Tis a matter for swords and drums, my lord.
With supplies loaded and mercenaries sworn, the small fleet sailed for Palermo, where a trade agreement could secure Marco's claim in Genoa. But the sea was no longer safe. Pirates roamed, and Pisan warships struck Genoese vessels on sight.
Signore, the waters ahead are thick with pirates. Per l'amor di Dio. As we sail for Sicily, avoid battle if you can. We can survive only one engagement against these bloody shites. Scout Sicily first, then set course for their capital, Palermo. Avanti!
Uneasy rests the head that wears the crown. Thou shouldst attend. A bloody business calls thee now, your grace. Summon up your blood, my lord. This matter calls thee. Fire and sword doth crouch for employment, your grace. I am the hammer in thy hand, my lord. Use me hard. Some foul deed, your grace? "'Tis a matter for swords and drums, my lord. I'll fight till my bones and my flesh be hacked. God's nails, what needest thou?
During the voyage home, word reached Marco that His Holiness Pope Paschal II had died, whose authority had long checked Pisa's aggression. Now, the murder of Guido Visconti was a perfect casus belli, and with the earthquake leaving Genoa's walls broken, a Pisan siege could spell the end of the Republic.
Take heed, these signs may bode ill or well. Fire and sword doth crouch for employment, your grace. God save the mark. I'll fight till my bones and my flesh be hacked. God's nails, what needest thou?
A pirate fleet closed in, its intent unmistakable. Naval war in this age was brutal. Ships lashed together into floating archipelagos, where battle became close quarters slaughter.
Signore, as the men mourned the Pope, a pirate ship snuck up on us. Madonna mia! I'd urge you to lead the battle, but I see you're deeply troubled by Pope Paschal's passing. Worry not, Messere. The men can handle these shite-stained pirate dogs. Auto-resolve the battle, Messere.
Some foul
We are
deed,
victorious,
your grace.
Messere. But it was ugly, and the men bled for it. When you lead in person, fewer will die. Capito? Now sail on to Palermo. We can heal and repair there. With the Pope dead, Genoa may soon need every sword. Hell take it.
Summon up your blood, my lord. This matter calls thee. Fire and sword doth crouch for employment, your grace.
Palermo, ruled by Roger II of Sicily, was a Norman hub of Mediterranean trade. A formal trade agreement with Roger II would strengthen Marco's claim in the coming election. But he could not shake the dread. Was Genoa already burning as he negotiated?
Signore, Palermo at last, grazie a Dio. Your presence near the capital grants powerful diplomatic advantages. Now seal that bloody trade agreement. Meanwhile, the men will heal in the port, and we can recruit more mercenaries. Sell all the silk, too. Your father still needs silver for election bribes. Do not dally. In fretta.
Tis a matter for swords and drums, my lord. Take heed. These signs may bode ill or well. A bloody business calls thee now, your grace. Well met, my lord.
As Marco turned toward Genoa, grim news arrived. A Pisan host, bolstered by nobles from the Holy Roman Empire, had struck the city. Genoa was leaderless and on its knees. Even if the siege was repelled, the city could burn, and riots would follow.
Marco, che disastro! Genoa is under attack. Madonna mia. With you still at sea and not present to command, the battle must be auto-resolved. Hell take it. May the Lord spare the city. If this goes ill, Genoa will burn, and the streets will run red. Pray, Messere. Deo gratias. Santa Maria, proteggi Genoa, ti prego. Marco, word is, the city held. Grazie a Dio. But they say it was a slaughter, and Genoa is scarred. Fires took the outskirts, anger boiled, and the streets are near riot. We must reach Genoa at once, or shite turns to revolt, and the city eats itself.
"'Tis a matter for swords and drums, my lord. I am the hammer in thy hand, my lord. Use me hard."
Marco, my son, 'tis good to see you. Benvenuto a casa. Alas, Genoa is tearing itself apart. Smoke, riots, knives in the alleys. They blame this on your Visconti mess. You pox-ridden fool. Porca miseria. Killing that lad put a knife to our throat. You shite-brained lardars. Prego! Pray, Marco. I will spend every last shite-stained coin to force this damned election. Then you steady the city. Capito? If the Fieschi or the Spinola family take the vote, we hang. Porca miseria.
Genoa was scarred, burned outskirts, and unrest within as citizens turned on one another. Amid the chaos, Marco's father spent every last coin the family had on bribes. The death of Guido Visconti stained Marco's name. Some cursed him, others cheered for Pisan blood. Coin and whispers did the rest, and Marco was elected consul, now ruling over a city that had become a shadow.
Messere, consul, Marco. Ah, a fine ring to it. Che bello, complimenti. Your father pulled it off, that sly old bastard. Alas, Genoa is bollocked. You should move to the city and lower taxes as your first act to calm the streets. Close the stone mines too. The people hate that damned place. Remember, you cannot control the city directly while happiness is negative. Presto, Messere Consul di Genoa.
Take heed. These signs may bode ill or well.
Messere Consul, order has returned, per fortuna. Now enter the city and take personal command. This power is reserved for crises, and each month you gain more time within. Inside you may direct labor and hasten construction by hand. Enter the city, Messere, and guide its recovery.
Genoa stood where the sea pressed against the mountains, a crowded republic of tens of thousands, packed within its walls, and surrounded by farms, quarries, and hamlets that fed its power. Narrow streets climbed the hills from the harbor, while recent earthquakes had cracked old fortifications, forcing wooden palisades where stone once stood. And so, Genoa endured, but only just. Smoke still rose from burned houses beyond the walls, and the fields were littered with the dead. The raid had been repelled, yet unrest followed close behind. A consul had finally been chosen, but the wounds of battle and division still bled through the city.
Messere Consul Doria, this is the price of delay. The enemy was driven off, but the outskirts were ravaged, and fallen soldiers still lie unburied. Let's start with repairing the manor, and recruiting some peasants for the work ahead. Meanwhile, your peasants can start looting and burying the corpses outside the city.
Toothpicks and timber coming up.
Signore Consul, before we can raise new buildings within the city, we must first restore the villages beyond them. And note that village building variety is different from those within the city. Let's start with gathering silver, wood, and food and stone. Once
On
the
to
flow
work,
of
my lord.
resources is steady, we will turn our attention to the city.
More I do, more I'm needed. Get chopping on those trees. Born to work, my lord. Do we get fed this time? Meat coming soon. Born to work, my lord. Can we get new boots? Carving out some stone here. Cut and chisel, boys. Of course, your worship. To the mines, my lord. Really?
Messere Consul, city construction devours timber and stone. Before we turn inward, we must stockpile what we need. Recruit additional peasants and set them to the forest, and construct another stone mine with a peasant working it. And position horse carts near the forest and mines, so resources are dropped off quickly.
Marco, my son. Bravo, bene. I see Genoa's people working again. The city approves its consul. Per fortuna. My silver was well spent. But grim news. Porca miseria. House Fieschi fled to the port of Savona, sealed the gates, and turned away Genoa's banners. Maledizione. Bastardi. We'll make an example of those shite-stained rats. With blood. Finish these works in Genoa. Then we answer Fieschi by force of arms.
Slowly, life returned beyond Genoa's walls. Peasants toiled in the fields and forests, carts rolled with wood and stone, and the flow of supplies steadied once more. With the countryside working again, it was time to turn inward and begin rebuilding the city itself.
Signore Consul, your father's warning is well taken. Savona will not be won by words, and Pisa will not ignore weakness for long. Upgrade the barracks, then construct an archery range and a siege workshop. These works will expand Genoa's garrison, and let us raise fresh troops and siege weapons for Savona. Messere Consul, Pisa may strike again, and we must be ready. War is paid for in stone and silver. Construct a tax collector to bring in the coin needed to hire and maintain new troops. Then begin rebuilding the stone walls. There are 6 stretches to raise, but we can afford only one for now. Fortify the eastern gate, where the next blow is most likely to fall.
is ready, my lord.
Let me wash me hands first.
Day by day, Genoa steadied. Coin began to flow, labor returned to the streets, and stonework rose where the walls still lay broken. The defenses were unfinished, but the Republic was no longer idle. With all that could be done inside the city set in motion, it was time for Marco to look to the bigger picture. Work had begun in Genoa. Coin was flowing again, stonework was rising, and order was slowly returning. Yet the city's greatest danger was not only outside its walls. House Fieschi had refused the election, fled the unrest, and entrenched itself in Savona, a wound in the Republic that could not be ignored. And with Pope Paschal II gone, restraint in Italy was fading. Another Pisan strike was only a matter of time, perhaps aided by renegade lords tied to the Holy Roman Empire. If Genoa was to survive, and if Savona was to be brought back, it was time to raise troops and invest in military arts.
Marco, my son. Genoa stands, but Pisa is coming back soon. Porca miseria. They will come stronger, with lords hiding behind imperial titles. Scurvy curs. Our window to reclaim Savona from the Fieschi dogs is short, and we need siege engines and more men. Begin recruiting, presto. Remember, new troops arrive under strength, but they fill out month by month. Pazienza, capito? Once we are ready, we march.
どうしたらいい？
Uneasy rests the head that wears the crown. Thou shouldst attend. Take heed. These signs may bode ill or well.
おかしくなってる感じがするね。日本語化されてる結構面白そう。